All right, and we are live. Welcome to the stream, guys. I am H3 the Game, and I am joined by my two co-hosts, Cross. What's going on, man?
Hello.
Hello. And my other co-host, the Immortal Afro, Josh. What's going on?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Ooh, I'm feeling a little tired. It's a little rainy outside, but I'm doing good. Just excited for the stream today because I've been thinking about doing this topic for a long time, especially now. But today we're going to talk about learning fighting games and the ins and outs of it. And I've been waiting on this because we're in a new age of fighting games where so many games have come out, especially last year. I think we got Tekken 8, we got Street Fighter 6, we got Under Night in Birth, we got uh, the resurgence of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and then the resurgence of Virtua Fighter 5 with Virtua Fighter 5 Revo that just came out. So there's so many fighting games that are out, and I just want to take the time out to kind of talk about learning and playing fighting games because I think personally fighting games are like the hardest games to learn out of anything because the dynamics of like the execution, the people dynamic, um, the competing aspect of it is just crazy. But let's get into it with our first topic. Now, why do you want to learn fighting games in the first place? And what do you guys think? Why would you want to learn a fighting game in the first place?
I think it's good to learn a fighting game to kind of develop good judgment, uh, fundamentals, patience above all. Because if there's one thing fighting games will teach you, it's how to lose when you're impatient and how to manage your emotions, frustration. If you're serious about it, assuming you are,
Mhm.
you're somebody who, you actually like playing fighting games, you want to learn how to play a fighting game, and you're not going to just be put off because you lose immediately. Like, there's a lot of cadence that fighting games offer that most other games really don't. And I learned a lot about myself playing a lot of fighting games because, first of all, it looks cool. The character's cool, do cool stuff, and uh, seeing, I think one of the earliest memories I had of I really wanted to learn how to do something cool in a fighting game was Street Fighter 4. This was like the early version of Street Fighter 4. I was looking at this tournament, and it was this Ken versus Chun Li. And at this point, I kind of understood what charged characters were, and I always thought they were limited because I was like, okay, well, there's certain things you can and can't do. But this Chun Li at the time, he was fighting the Ken, and in the corner, the Ken jumped up, and the Chun Li jumped up and hit him with her target combo. It was two heavies that put him in a juggle state. And then when she came down, she hit him with the EX bird, throwing him in the corner, and then did the ultra. I was like, huh? You can do that? Because with other characters, you just have the two quarter circle forward motions, the ultra come out. You ain't really got to plan it. Just slight timing and you got it. But this guy knew exactly where to hit the EX bird. He knew that it would send him going towards the corner. And he knew his ultra would, because her ultra, she would jump forward pretty far. So I thought he was gonna miss, but since he was in the corner, the corner kept him there, and he landed the full animation ultra. And then after that, I saw Guile. Guile anti-air somebody with a regular flash kick, and then did his super, and then did his ultra. And I was like,
But
okay. I thought it was possible. Yeah, it was cold. I was like, I didn't really like playing with those characters, but I wanted to do it. I wanted to figure out how it was done. And from there, that's where my journey kind of started with learning the ins and outs of execution and how to spot certain animations and timing and angles in order for certain things to hit. Because I really had to slow it down. I went back and looked at the video frame by frame, and I was like, "Oh, so he landed kind of in front of me for EX spinning bird to land like that. Because when I do it, they go all behind me and break my charge.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot I learned, and of course, it eventually led to Makoto and the infamous Kara Kusa. Learned about Kara cancels,
Oh, snap.
and man, once I mastered that, I remember. I think Cross was there. I was practicing it for like hours, and I could kind of do it in practice, but I was like, I need to be able to do it in a match. And I think when I first did it and I got it in a match, I was like, holy shit, I'm the best. It's such a small victory. It's like it don't look like anything, but if you're somebody who understands like the amount of execution required to do half that shit, it's really impressive. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, this guy's fun. He's not fucking around. He's like the real deal.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. What about you, Cross?
Can you repeat the question again?
So why do you want to learn fighting games?
You mean me?
Yeah. Like why would you or anybody else want to learn fighting games?
I mean, there's a plethora of reasons why people may want to learn fighting
Mhm.
games, but I guess the primary one is to win, you know. Why you want to win, I mean, that's up to you. But
Mhm.
I guess if I'm gonna do story time, the only reason why I want to win was because I always lost at them.
Mm.
When I was younger, I never really owned any fighting games. Like when I was really young, like I mean, thinking back on it now, I was actually a kid and they were beating up on me, so there was no reason why I would think I should be able to win. But like when I was like around that like time when Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat, like 1 and 2, like that era, like of like
Yeah.
games, uh, I never won. Like literally, when I say never won, I mean literally, I never won. I always lost.
Yeah.
Like every time I lost, every game, no matter what game we were playing. And I didn't understand how. I thought there was just something fundamentally wrong with me or something because they would always beat me and I would always lose. And
Mhm.
so I just thought I was bad at those games naturally. And that's that. I didn't have like an idea in my mind that I need to learn something or no, because I was a little fucking kid. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't know shit, But um, there was this guy that I met. Like, he was a fucking adult. He was about like 30 or something at that time,
Mhm.
and he asked if I wanted to play some video games, and I probably had to be like, let's see, 2002. Yeah, I was probably 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And he put in Soul Calibur 2. And I really like Soul Calibur 1, as a just a game. That was probably like the first fighting game I owned, but that like I played because I had Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, but I didn't understand what was going on. Couldn't do
Yeah.
really any of the moves. I had Mortal Kombat, but I thought Mortal Kombat was retarded. So like I never really played it. Um, you know, but he played me in Soul Calibur 2, and he picked Keelik, and I picked Taki, and he would just spam the same fucking shit 6B all day, over and over and over and over and over again,
Yeah.
and I would lose. And he was the first person that said, you can beat this, right? He's like, that you can win against this.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, how? He was like, well, one, you got to start guarding. And two, you can move around this. Look. And then he showed me, and I was like, huh. He was like, here. He let me borrow the game. He said, here, you can have this for a moment, and you know, play it and try to figure out what you can and can't do, and then we'll play again. And I was like, oh, okay. And so that's what I did. I took it home and I just played the shit out of it because, that's when I really was like, man, I really love Soul Calibur 2. This game is fucking awesome. And so next time we fought, I remember like the big thing that like the big difference that like I learned was that I can block anything.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, you can't hit me if I'm blocking you know so there's nothing you can do to me. Like, you can swing as much as you want, but if I know where to block, you can't hit me. At least that's what I was thinking.
Hmm.
And then it was like I can move. So I've learned the basics of like blocking and move around something and I press a button. And it was like that was enough to like open the door for everything else for me because then it would be like I would try to press a button. Sometimes I would hit him. I would try to press a button, and sometimes he would block it. And I'd be like, "Well, why could you block it there, but I you can block it here?" And
Yeah.
but I was able to figure it out. I was like, "Well, this move is probably faster. Maybe like you know, like so like we would play back and forth, and it got to a point to where like he was actually trying. Like for a long time, he wasn't really trying, but I was trying really hard, and it
Yeah.
got to a point where like if this was near the end of Soul Calibur 2's lifespan when Soul Calibur 3 was coming out. But like I still play Taki, he still play Keelik, and we would like we're even. We were going like back and forth. Yeah. And he let me borrow that in Final Fantasy 10 and the strategy after Final Fantasy 10.
Okay.
Because I saw Final Fantasy 10 and I was just looking at it like, man, I wish I had that game. Oh, it looks so cool. And he was like, you want that too? I was like, yeah. Oh, this guy is so awesome. Like, yeah, so yeah, like he let me borrow
Adults
Final
can
Fantasy
be cool.
10.
Wow.
Wow, adults are cool. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, like I wanted to learn fighting games because I wanted to win. Like I didn't even know I could win. Like I had no idea that like the game was about learning things, and the reason why people won was because they knew things that I didn't. I thought they were just for some reason. I know it sounds stupid now. I can barely say it without like cringing, but I just thought they were like fundamentally better than me, and there would be no way I could ever beat them because that's how much I lost. I never even won by random happenstance. I would always lose. And so
Yeah.
like I never thought I could win until he showed me how. Like
Okay.
just one way to victory made me explore all the other ways. He
Yeah.
didn't have to show
Yeah.
me every other way. It was just like, oh, there's a way to win, and
Yeah.
moves have weaknesses. Like so. Okay, well, this move here has this weakness. This move here has this weakness. This move here, I can do this. I can do this. And it was like all I did is play Final. I mean, not Final Fantasy. Well, I play Final Fantasy 10 a lot too, but like all I did was play Soul Calibur 2 all the
Yeah.
fucking time, like learning different characters, what they do, like because the game just became super interesting immediately in
Yeah.
a different way that I mean I always liked it because of the other stuff, but now it became interesting because of the game. And I
Yeah.
was like, whoa. And so then like when Soul Calibur 3 came out, he I remember this very distinctly because when Soul Calibur 3 came out, I was excited. I
Yeah.
really was hyped for it. I was like, "Oh my god, this game's going to be so fucking great." And I got it and I was like, "Hey, we should play Soul Calibur 3." And he was like, "I do not want to play that game. We can play 2." And at the time, I had no clue why he would want that. So we never really played again because I was like, "I'm not playing 2.
Yep.
3's out. I wanna play 3. I don't wanna play 2. Like, why do you wanna play fucking 2? Like,
He
I don't
knew.
wanna play 2."
He
Yeah,
knew.
yeah, he knew, but, like,
He
I
knew.
didn't really know, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, "This is 3, it's the newest game, I wanna learn what this game is about," you know?
Yeah.
And now, I was a fucking kid. I was literally like, when I think back on those times, I always imagine myself older than I was, and I'm like, "Oh, wait, I was, like, 12 or something."
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, like, that's so, like and then, like, it got boring because, like, then all the same people that, like, in my neighborhood where I would play them in fighting game, it was like now I would I never lost.
Yeah. You were too good.
Yeah, it was like
Too good.
flip, and then no one wanted to play me in fighting games. They'd be like, "Oh, don't turn
Mm.
on a fighting game against him." It was like all of a sudden they didn't wanna play Smash, they didn't wanna play it didn't matter which fighting game. Like,
Yeah.
I thought I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna lose in all these other games, though." That's what I thought. I was like, "I know how to play Soul Calibur kinda
Yeah.
okay, but, oh, they put in Smash Brothers? Oh, okay, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm not gonna be able to play this." But it was like, I had a basic understanding. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I know what the block button is." I
It's,
play with Ness, so all I would do is run away and hit them with the lightning and throw PK fire and run away and block
yeah.
and run
It,
away, PK fire, run away until they had a little bit of health and I would hit them with the bat.
yeah.
But
It,
before I had no plan. I was just doing I don't know what the
yeah.
fuck I was doing. you know?
Yeah, like sometimes it just takes that one little thing to open up a pathway, like you said, to many other things. It's kind of like it opens your mind to uh, just other
Yeah, the
possibilities and
possibility.
yeah.
Right. It's
Um,
like I finally understood what fighting games were supposed to be.
yeah,
And so, yeah, my reason is to well, at first it was to win, but then afterwards it was more like to find an opponent that can push me towards being better.
yeah,
That's kind of like my primary motivation now. It's like both.
yeah. So me, I grew up in like the arcade era. So as a kid, I used to go to these arcades and I used to see people playing Street Fighter and Marvel's Capcom 2 and like I said, Soul Calibur. So I'm seeing all of these top players, and then I'm like, man, I can't wait to get on this cabinet and play this. And I'm a kid like you. Like, and those folks, they beat me like I was a grown man on them cabinets. They did the infinites on me. They did everything. Like they were killing me. It's like back then they didn't have no mercy in the arcades because it was the best players. You had your quarter and you didn't want to spend no more money. So it's like, hey, I got to stay on as much as possible. So
Yeah.
seeing those guys doing like some crazy stuff, I'm like, man, I have no idea how you're doing it, but it looks so cool. Even like in Guilty Gear back in the day, like they used to be tough on that Guilty Gear, crazy, and those guys pretty much inspire me. And my personal opinion, I think that fighting games have like the coolest characters ever. Like some of the coolest character designs I've ever seen have been in fighting games. For instance, my little avatar, of course, if you stop my cam, is Kyo. Like Kyo is probably one of the coolest characters like ever, in fighting games. And the storylines, they can be hit or miss. Some of them are good, most of them are bad, but they're just so cool to look at, so good, cool to play, and man, I just love them. It's just like I even love the lore behind the characters, why they do this and why they do that, and why they have this style or that style, and all of the crazy stuff. Um, the devil gene and that stupid stuff. I love it. The Dark Hado in Street Fighter. It's like the lore in fighting games are just so awesome. So you kind of get immersed in the lore and the the fighting game aspect, competitive aspect of just trying to be better. Um, and like I said, win or lose, sometimes it's just fun, like a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's funny, just to kind of recap on a little bit of nostalgia. I think we talked about it before, but I think when I started before Street Fighter, the thing that kind of really pushed me to play fighting games was you, Herbert, the H3 game himself. Because I thought I was pretty good beating up all the guys in Tekken 6. Because I used to hate Tekken because I didn't
Yeah,
understand it. I was like, yeah, this stupid game doesn't know what gravity is. And maybe if they understood gravity, I'd play it. And I thought they changed it to Tekken 6 because I didn't like Tekken 5 because it was so floaty. I played
mm-mm.
Tekken 6 and I was beating up all the regular guys. This was before I met Herbert. And I'm like, yeah, they finally fixed this game because now I'm good at it. So,
Mm.
man, Tyrell, he's like, hey, man, a guy at work, he plays Tekken too. I wonder if he could beat you. Me, I kind of got a big head at this point. I'm like, yeah, well, you guys ain't nothing to me. If I could beat like 5 other niggas, what's one more? I played
Yeah,
this
man.
dude. Our first game, I'll never forget it, man. 98-2. I was ready to hang that shit up. I was like, I thought they fixed this game. It's actually worse. Fuck
So
this game.
yeah, so I got a story like that too. I remember when I moved back. I think I moved back to Memphis, and I don't know if I moved back. Well, anyway, I know at the time Tekken 6 it came out, right? And it was like the release night. I was like, man, I can't wait to play this game. Tekken 6. It's gonna be awesome. And when I got to I was at GameStop, right? Waiting outside, it was just me out there. I was like, man, how come ain't nobody waiting for this game? It was like it was just me. So a guy comes out, right? And he sees me. He's like, hey man, like what you doing out here? You waiting for Tekken 6? I was like, yeah, man, I'm waiting for Tekken 6. And he said, well, my name is Lil Majin, man. I'm the best player in Tennessee. And in my mind, I was like, bullshit. Best player in Tennessee. Lil Majin. What is this Majin? Like Majin Buu? I was like, what is that?
What a lame, stupid name.
Yeah, it's like best. I said, I know I'm cold. I'm like, I keep best in Tennessee. I don't believe it. But anyway, he invites me inside in GameStop, and they were playing in there, right? So yeah, I got in the rotation, and I started playing. I didn't understand the new mechanics at the time, but they kind of could see that I kind of knew what I was doing, but didn't, right? So he was like, yeah, man, like, look like you're pretty good. It's like, you want to play sometime? I was like, yeah, man, I'm down to play. And I was like, man, I'm finna kick this little Margins guy's ass. And invited him to my place, man. And oh my God, I found out that day. I think the score was like 100 and something to like 1. The score was like 100 and something to 1. And I tell Josh this and Cross this all the time, but the only reason why I got that 1 was I was playing so hard. I was so sweaty that my fingers and hands were just like wet with sweat, right? And I remember like my life flashed before my eyes. I was about to die to like this last king thing. Whatever he was gonna do was gonna kill me. But my finger slipped and I did some shit I wasn't supposed to do, and I accidentally killed him. And that was the only way I got that 1 win. But if I would have did what I wanted to do, I would have been dead. I would have been dead. But yeah, like, man, it always starts out like that, where like you get beat up, and then after a while, once you start learning a little bit more, you get a little bit better. Things get better. But I don't know if we touched on this through what we were talking, but what should your goals be when learning the fighting game? Like, what should you be striving for as far as goals?
Well, one thing I kind of learned, after the fact, now that I'm a seasoned veteran, things you should really focus on are the fundamentals. You can't get past the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Understanding how the game works, how the game should be played, and what to do, and if you really like it. That's kind of how I'm a lot pickier nowadays. That's why I'm so critical of Tekken 8 and Street Fighter. What 6 was the 6 now? And they're good games in their own right, but if the system isn't something you can't really get jiggy with, you don't like how the fundamentals work, then that can kind of help you determine whether or not you should play a game, continue to play it. Tekken 6, since I was the one that kind of learned it, the more I played it, the more I understood. And while I was understanding, I was growing to like it. Understanding like how, go for launchers, then there's the bound, and then there's the bound ender, your pokes, the importance of sidestepping, and all these elements. Like, yeah, it caused frustration, but it didn't make me dislike the game. It was like, kind of like when I finally actually learned how to play Dead or Alive. I've been playing it forever, but once I started to learn how to play fighting games, I was able to apply a lot of those similar, concepts to every fighting game. Like, you have to learn the system. How does this game expect you to play it well? And, same thing with Smash Brothers. I think Brawl, even though that was the shittiest one compared to the rest of them. But, you kind of get an idea of, like, what's the system? Like, can you wave dash on here? What's the L cancel? Every fighting game has their little nuances and specific idiosyncrasies that kind of, should appeal to you the more you play it, because you're going to be playing the system for a very long time, if you're serious about it. And so, yeah, I think that should be the main thing: fundamentals and how the game plays, and if you like it. Like Street Fighter 6, not too fond of it. Didn't really play it. But Street Fighter 4, that's a system worth respecting, getting into
Okay.
for a long time. But
Yeah.
it varies from person to person.
What about you, Cross?
You mean goals?
Mm-hmm.
I think you know you need to make sure that you make the goals instead of someone else make them for you. I think that's the first thing. You shouldn't play a game that you don't want to play. It's very easy to play and do things because all your friends are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, everyone's playing whatever Street Fighter 6, Strive, what Tekken 8, whatever game, and I'm gonna play it because they're playing it. I think that's a good way to find yourself in creating a habit loop of things you don't want to do, and you
Yeah.
didn't know that you're doing it because you're like, oh, why am I still playing this game? It's because you're using it as a substitute for social time, and you
Yeah.
should be finding social time somewhere else, so that you actually enjoy it. And then fighting games can be fighting games, and that they can be both if you actually enjoy the game. But don't try to substitute it for social time, because then if you don't like the game, now you're like locked in a way, and that's not good. So I think you have to create your own goals. I know it sounds obvious, but I think some people come into a game and they don't have any goals, or like their goals they didn't like clarify it to themselves, so they end up, like I said, being frustrated at like an unknown. They're like, man, I'm so frustrated. I'm like, stop playing the game, but they feel compelled, like they can't. Uh, so that's one thing. But if your goal is to say, you know, win, and so let's say we're working with the idea that the goal is to win, then I would say um, a good place to start is just play the game against who you can play against.
Yeah.
That's the simplest thing you can do. Try to find the closest opponent that you can play the most often and play him as much as you can, and try to close the gap as much as you can. I don't think that textbook learning approach to fighting games is the most effective way,
Yeah.
because it's not real. I think the quickest thing you can do is turn on a fighting game. Who is someone that you can play that not necessarily is so good that you just lose 100% of the time and there's just no way to ever win ever. But someone that like, hey, this guy's better than me. Um, I want to play, and I can play him often. It shouldn't be someone that's like hard to get games with. They never really want to play you. It's someone that you can just say, hey, can we play some games? And they'll say, yeah, sure. Just do that. You don't have to fight a fuck ton of people. You don't have to be the world's best. Just play that guy. And then
Yeah.
whenever there's something that he's doing to you that is um you find annoying. Oh, he throws me so much, or he does this one move all of the time and I hate it.
Yeah.
Just learn how to beat that thing. And you just do that over and over again. Once you get comfortable with that thing, oh, I know how to beat that. I'll just do this. Because when you can expand that mindset expands to everything, and you're immediately doing it, instead
Yeah.
of like trying to like you know go in the correct way the first time. I'm a
Yeah.
big proponent of just getting started and
Yeah.
playing where you are, instead of trying to do it the right way the first time around.
I 100% agree with that. Sometimes you just can't be, stagnant. Sometimes, like you said, be like textbook. Is I think what it's called analysis paralysis by analysis. You know,
Yeah.
where you like constantly analyzing things and you're not actually jumping in and doing it. Like I'm kind of like that, where like I I have a trouble learning things like by textbook, so I'm better at just jumping in and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
So I 100% agree with that.
I personally
Um,
think that's the best way to learn.
yeah,
Is to it's the hard people may call it the hard-headed way, you know. Smarter people may say it's better to learn from other people's pain than to learn from your own. I couldn't disagree more. I think learning from your own pain has more value than learning from someone else's because you don't feel the pain. You just see someone else's pain. And at best, if you're smart and empathetic, you'll be able to feel some version of their pain. You'll be able to, but it's like always going to be diminished. But if it's yours, then you really feel it. And as long as it doesn't kill you, but we're talking about fighting games here, so it won't, then we're good. But yes, the absolute smartest and wisest are able to look at other people's mistakes and learn from them. But it's better to
and
make your own
I would
mistakes.
say I would say do both, but you definitely have to get started.
Yeah, but one of them is primary.
Yeah,
The primary one is, in my opinion, is to learn, like to get out there and get as many scrapes and bruises as possible instead
yeah,
of sitting back and being like, well, I'll only get the scrapes and bruises I need. It's like, nah, get more than you need and pick the ones that you want to prevent. And then just do that really slowly over time and have fun. Fun is the most important part. Again, you got to pick a game that you actually want to play. If the game is not fun, then why in the hell would you want to go through all of that bullshit? Why would you want to go through all the losing and bruising and shit? Like if he turned on Mortal Kombat 3 back in the day, that same guy turned on Mortal Kombat, I don't know, fucking what would have been out at that fucking time, 4, and we played that game, trust me, I wouldn't have listened to one word he said about learning the game because I wouldn't have gave a fuck. I would have been like, I don't care. This game looks like shit and I hate it. It looks stupid. But I like Soul Calibur too. So it was like, oh, this game is cool. And I can like win at it. It's like, cool. I didn't mind turning it on and going to practice mode and doing all that shit because I liked the game. I didn't mind that the practice mode was kind of shit. Like that's the one thing about Soul Calibur 2 that fucking sucks. The practice mode is ass in that game. And but
yeah,
I didn't give a fuck because I would just find a way to learn it. I would be like, okay, you hold this second controller and press this button at this time because I
yeah,
want to learn how this shit works. Like
yeah,
that's what I wanted to do it, but if you don't want to do it, then there's no nothing. There's no magic bullet. It's just so that's the first. I guess if I had to say, that's the first thing. Make sure that it's a game that you want to play, that you're having fun. If you don't have that part, you'll never get better because it'll be a job, and you just won't be able to get through all the losses and learn from it
yeah,
because it'll just be boring.
It
yeah,
just kind of demoralize you, and then yeah.
yeah. So,
Yep.
so for me, as far as goals, I think the first goal is to have fun. I'm sorry. That's the
Yeah,
first thing. It's like
it is.
if I'm playing something that's trash, oh my God, it's like I can't do it. It's like I can't do it. It's like I can't get to the learning process if I'm not having fun.
Yep.
So, and that kind of gets me to my next topic. So, if you guys were like beginners starting out, what is the very first thing you should learn? And I'll go first on this one because I was kind of touching on it just a second ago. But I think one of the very first things you should learn or you should do, you should find a character that you find fun. That's cool. You go to the character select screen and you kind of look because sometimes when you don't really, know the game, it's like it's hard to tell who you're gonna like right off the bat. So you need to go to character select, look at the cast, see who's cool. You can even look at some videos. You might have seen a video of a player playing a certain character, like, man, that looks dope. Let me, I want to try that. I see that it looks cool. Go to character select, pick your character, kind of go through the move list to see what the moves look like. That's another thing too. Sometimes these characters be doing some lame moves. They got some sorry moves. So you need to find moves that you like to see because you're gonna be seeing them like a lot if you're gonna be playing a lot. So the character has to do moves that you like. They have to look like you want them to look, and you have to have fun with the character. I think that should be the very first thing you should do. But what do you guys think?
I agree. It's along those lines. The one that's most prolific for me back in the day before the internet, so there were no videos to look at. But
Yeah.
for me, it was the generator disc for the Dreamcast that had a demo. Dead or Alive.
Mm.
That was the first
Oh,
time I've ever seen that game. I didn't know what it was because, like, when I saw it, it was just the words.
good old Dead or Alive.
Yeah, and so when I was going through the demos, I'm like, yeah, you got your Sonic Adventure, you got the your Power Stone. I forgot which volume generator disc it was, but I saw Dead or Alive and I was like, I didn't know what it was. I clicked on it, and it was just the demo. It had Kasumi and Ayane, and
Mhm.
in case you guys didn't know, a little history there. That demo disc is the only game. It's the only file of the game that has their legit ages on there. So
Oh,
back
really?
yeah, because if you played a original Dead or Alive 2 game, their ages will be like question marks. And it's because they're
Oh,
their age. But in the disc, I was 16, Kasumi was 17.
oh, really?
Yeah. But so they were the only playable characters. And me, I'm a little kid, and I'm like, wow, these girls are really pretty. I saw Ayana, and I was like, I'm in love. I like her. I like her a lot. Now they showed the pictures of the other characters, but you couldn't select them. But I could select her. So when I was playing with her, and of course I was taken by her beauty, but she was also just like really cool. And eventually got my hands on the actual game and started learning the story. So for me, it's more than just like playing with them. It's like the story behind them, their motivations, where they come from, all that stuff is what kind of leads me to like characters, and that carried on for every other game. Like Makoto, she was cool. I was like, man, why is she so interesting versus like all the other characters? Like, oh yeah, she has the dojo and her version of karate. It's hard for her to get new people in to teach it, and she's trying to keep it, going, keep the fight style alive. And she's like, I don't know, I'll just go to a tournament and beat everybody's ass with this this style of karate, so people can respect it. And then leading into games like Blaze Blue, Iron Tiger, just a big old dude who was I think he was like a war veteran who was about to die, but Tokunoa was like, nah, we gonna turn you into a Frankenstein Terminator. And he was like, so now he's loyal to her. It's a really cool story behind a lot of these characters. And so, yeah, oh man, Dead or Alive has the best menu screen anyway. But yeah, so like the more you're interested in the character, you want to learn about the character, everything else will kind of follow, like naturally, if you legitimately like a character. And keep in mind, I was like, what, 9 or 10 when I first saw Dead or Alive 2? And man, oh man, she kicked so high. Oh boy, does she kick so high. But man, this was amazing back then. I still to this day think Dead or Alive 2 was one of the biggest like uplifts in like technology, graphics, and gameplay for a sequel for any game. So
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a really big jump.
yeah,
It probably is. I was thinking the same thing actually. I was like, wow, I think DOA 2 is the largest leap. It's either DOA, no, yeah, it's definitely DOA 2. I was gonna say VF2 to VF3, but then I was like, nah, it's still this because it's crazy how big of a leap it is.
yeah, like it felt like it should have been on like compared to other games, it felt like it should have been on like a few consoles before it got to here.
Yeah.
And it was just so fast. It was like, dude, this is like it's the second game.
See, yeah, for me, I was like, man, this game looks like the future.
Yeah.
It's like this blows everything away graphically. The way the eyes blink, the way the lips move, like no other game just looked like this. it wasn't as smooth as this too. Like that's another thing that got me. It was like, man, this game feels so smooth and buttery. Whenever I
Yeah.
press a button and do a move, it's like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
And the stages were so different. Like every fighting game has been a box. And then here comes this game where it's like you're outside, you're inside, you're on the Great Wall of China, you're on the side of the Great Wall of China, you're in that bottom basement of the Great Wall of China. Like, what? And everybody over here ring out like garbage, bro. I don't want to play no ring out game.
Don't you talk about Virgin Fighter?
Well, I'll talk about Virtual Fighter, Soul Calibur.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Soul Calibur.
Yeah, I just thought it was like, since I was spoiled to this, I thought it was so lame that the fight is over. I was like, see, it did alive. They like, get I ain't done beating your ass yet. I'm gonna come down there and shoot this fireball at you. Man, yeah. So cold, bro. That's my girl right there, Ayane. For those who don't know, the purple-haired bitch. Everybody hate.
Yeah. Now, what about you, Cross? Like, if you're a beginner and you just jump into a game, like, what is the very first thing you should do and learn?
Assuming I like the game. I mean, I guess like I would find out if I like the game or not. I would like go to practice mode, maybe press buttons in it and move around. It doesn't matter what character. Like I would press buttons, move around. If I didn't like how it felt, I would try one more character that I felt was the opposite of the character I just played. And if it still felt like shit, I would not play the game. Uh, you know, movement and how the buttons feel are the most important thing in my opinion. If you get those basic things wrong in my eyes, then I know I'm not gonna like the game. And
Yeah.
so then the game is gonna be dropped. I don't care what character is in the game because I have to play that character in that game.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. So first I have to like it's kind of like when I turned on Strive for the first time. I did a instant air dash and it felt like shit, and I said that was it. I
Yeah.
said that's all I needed to know. And
Yeah.
you know, it may seem a little drastic, but it's like movement is fun. And and you have to do it literally all the time when you're playing the game, and no matter what fighting game. And so if movement feels like ass and it's not fun to do, then that's the majority of me playing the game. So I'm not going to want to play the game anymore. But assuming I like the game, then yeah, the first thing I think I would try to do is find a character. Pretty much repeating what you said. Find a character that visually you think is cool, you know, all the stuff you guys just said, you like everything about them, their story and all that type of stuff. Then I would probably go to practice mode. You know, I would go to practice mode and press their buttons, see if I really like them, because like you said, they may have a move list that sucks and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, actually this move list sucks, I don't really like how they play. And so then,
Ooh.
you
Hey,
know,
I remember Street Fighter 2 playing Dalzine. Yo, when everybody picked Dalzine, it was like, man, this character sucks. But at the same time, there are really great players like Filipino Champ that pick up Dalzine, and they are a menace. You know, even back in Street Fighter 2, there are people who pick up Dalzine to be the cheapest thing ever.
yeah.
But most people they pick up Dalzine, like, man, this dude is floaty, he is slow, you know, but you know, he was definitely like good in the hands of a lot of players. But so with that said, what is your approach to learning fighting games? I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but just starting out, what is your approach or what's your thought process when you just start learning fighting games?
um I guess I'll start. um so for me,
Hold on
when
one
it
second. Hold on one second, Tevin. You see this screen? This is me getting mad at the customization screen, looking for
yeah, I
everything
know,
that's not there.
I see.
I'm like, where is everything? Look at my face. Okay, I'm so mad right now. Like, where is everything?
Yeah, I can't change my shirt. Can't change
Yeah.
my
Can't
drawers.
do nothing.
Can't change nothing.
Well, go ahead, Cross.
So you know, my approach to learning a fighting game is I try to understand. Um, okay, so how I learned fighting games in the past, I mean, and how I learn fighting games now, I guess it's different. But um, I guess the first thing I try to learn is like, what is the most basic, like, solid way to play this game that will beat low level play, and that will have to make someone play at a higher level to beat.
Yeah,
Like, what is that? Like, I don't try to learn like the skill stuff first. I try to learn absolute what is the most basic like game that this game is. What is the fundamental like level? Like, for example, if I'm learning KOF, the first thing I'm going to try to figure out is like, how does the game necessarily work? Sometimes you can get lucky and you end up finding a tutorial that'll be like, oh, well, this is KOF's triangle system. It's sweep, hop beats sweep, sweep beats jab, jab beats hop. You know, and you'll get lucky and you just end up finding that. Oh, great, right? But if you if I don't get lucky and I don't find that, then what I'll try to do is just try to like figure out the properties of the most basic things I have. Like, how do I throw? When can I throw someone? How can I, what buttons do I have? Okay, I have four attack buttons. Okay, two are punches, two are kicks. All right, cool. Um, you know I can jump four times in this game. Okay. you know and I just try to like get familiar with doing like the most basic stuff in the game, and then I know none of that is going to stick though. Like, almost none of it's going to stick, but I just try to do that so I can have it in my mind, and then I'll try to get into games as quickly as possible, uh so that I can like essentially start losing. Like, I'm playing for real, but like I know I'm gonna lose, and so like I want to play against random people. I'm not trying to be like, yeah, so really, 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 good player. Can you beat me up? It's like, that's not what I want. I don't want to, because like there's just almost little to no chance that you're gonna learn anything from them. You kind of need to play against like scrubs, because a scrub is gonna like, they may know like that one thing, and that one thing just kills you the entire game, and you're like, fuck, like, but it focuses your ability to learn the game, because then you say, oh, this guy, all he did was, I don't know, spam this one move on me and I died. And then now you can go to practice mode and figure out, well, why was I dying to that? You know, oh, it's because it works like this. And then that's one thing you got under your belt. So it's kind of like, I would try to learn what the fundamental system is of the game, and then if I have that, then I basically can play the game at a pretty decent level up to like an intermediate level almost immediately. Because the only thing that I'm missing is punishment. Like, how to punish things really hard. So like, for example, let's since VF is on the screen here, once I learned, oh, this game is a triangle system game. Okay, well, boom, I already am like better than a lot of players now. And I can start to compete. I can start playing against intermediate level players. I may not win, but the reason why I'm not winning is because when they hit me really hard. And when I hit them not so hard, because I don't know how to do that yet. But we're still playing the same game, you see? Like, if he decides, I'm going to throw you, I know that I can just launch him in the air. So I do a launcher, I hit him, but I only get pity pat damage because I don't know a combo yet. I might just get like two hits in. But when he makes the same yes, he's gonna hit me with some big combo. So
yeah,
to me, I'm not measuring my victories in like, oh man, I lost. I'm thinking I made the right decisions here, 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 and here. So if I just make it to where when I hit him, he dies, then I'm already better than this guy. It's like, so I guess my first approach would be learn the fundamental system if you can. If you can't, then make with what you got and just get online and try to play. Like, learn a few things about your character, I guess. Like, learn like your normals, like your basic buttons. Try to do that, but then just get online or fight some people as quickly as possible, and then whatever annoys you the most, learn how to fight that, and
Yeah.
and make sure it's something not super specific. Like, oh, when Kage does this very specific thing, nah, whatever. You're never gonna see that again.
Yeah.
It's like, if someone runs up to you, like if someone's doing 2P, 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 it's like that's something that you can learn how to beat. Everyone has it. You're surely gonna see it again. That's a basic thing. Uh, so yeah.
So me, I'm so glad we live in this internet age where you can find a character that you like, and then you can go online and look up guides or look up like the top players that are playing your character. So, well, the very first thing I do before I do that, I'll go into practice mode and I'll see what the moves are. Like kind of like what I'm doing on the screen here, acting a fool. I was like, man, that movie's so cool. I'll see what the ranges are, see if they look cool, see if the character's somebody I want to learn. And once I'm going down the list, I can kind of see what I would like to use. And after I see kind of what I would like to use, I kind of go and look at guides. I'll look at guides and see what people say about the character and what they're doing. Uh, or I'll look up a combo video to see how the combo structures work.
Block and roll.
Yeah, I
Nah,
love
it's
it.
like Sonic. It's like Sonic the Hedgehog when he does three. When he
Yeah,
does three of them,
yeah,
it plays the Sonic spin dash.
yeah. It does. That's what I was laughing at. That's what I was laughing at while I was practicing. But yeah, but see, that's what I'm talking about. Like if you go to practice mode and you pick up a character and the character is just fun to play out the gate. It's like like, all right, I want to play this character. It's just too fun playing this character. But yeah, I'll look up a guide, look up a combo video, and then or I might look up like, okay, what are the top 10 moves of the character? And then once I figure out that, um, I'll go back into practice to see if I can replicate some of the things that I saw in those videos. Where I'll go and see, okay, what is the command for this good move or that good move, and see how I can apply it. And I know it's kind of getting into some higher level stuff, but I'll look at frame data to see if the move is as good as it looks. Because sometimes a move can look really cool, it can look really good, but it'd be really terrible to use
Yeah.
in certain instances. But and then once I kind of got that kind of figured out, I have to develop the muscle memory and the memory in my head of all of this stuff. And it's not gonna come instantly. It's like you have to like kind of jump in there, like Cross was saying. You have to get reps in to where you're doing this stuff to where you can remember. Because some characters have like hundreds of moves, and like different stance cancels and different combos and things like that. So I would take the very basics and then go online or even fight the computer or go online and try to get the muscle memory down for doing certain things. But that is probably my approach to, learning fighting games. But what about you, Josh?
I'd say pretty a mixture of all that. But me personally, one thing I'd like to do is go down the command list. I want to see all the moves, the ones I like, especially if it's the character I decide I want to play with. Because if I like a character, it won't really bother me how they play, as long as it's something that I can do. And kind of like it's been the same like since I started playing Virtua Fighter, and the character I want to play with is John. Like I always look at him, always watch him in videos and stuff. I don't know what I'm looking at, but the first thing I do is go into the command list and just go down everyone, do every move, and see what it's like to press those buttons and see which ones I like the most. And then, of course, later over time, I'll see if like, okay, is this like a good move to use? Like, how often do I see it? I don't like to go off of videos too much because depending on how some people play, there's like a meta with a character and they just won't use a move. That's one of the traps I fell into with Elisa when I first played Tekken 6 because I played it a lot and a lot of the best Elisas would just completely neglect certain moves.
Mhm.
And it's just like, oh yeah, they're just bad. It's like, well, every move has a purpose, and it was just kind of frustrating to see a lot of moves just get ignored because they weren't optimal or something. But finding a place for certain moves, of course, that's a little bit more higher level. But if you like a move, you'll find a place for it.
Yeah, I agree.
So I kind of have the same philosophy for Virtual Fighter. Looking at John gameplay, everyone kind of plays samey. It's a little early for me to say because I don't understand this game too much to be like, oh, this is good, bad, yay, nay, blah blah blah. But yeah, definitely go down the move list and see which moves you like, which moves you don't really care for, or if it's a move you like, how do you use it, and just kind of go from there. And then like Cross said, don't be afraid to get online and don't go on with the intent to just win because you're just gonna frustrate yourself. Like go out there and learn how to use a move and learn how to get familiar with the character, either with moving around or using a certain move. And just take your time.
Yeah.
Just be patient. That's the one thing you can learn playing fighting games is patience. That's the biggest thing, probably above anything else, because fighting games move at a certain pace, and since all of that stuff that's going on is on you, you got to be able to keep yourself calm when you start just getting dog washed. You're like, it's a new game, especially if you've never played fighting games before. Relax. Rome wasn't built in a day. And
Yeah.
You're not going to be the greatest fighting game player this world has ever known. Or maybe you will, but starting out,
Okay, so they can segue into this topic here. How do you handle losing in fighting games? Because you can go to practice and you can learn all your moves, you can learn all the combos, but when you start playing these people online, oh my God, it's like a different world because the way people play and the way the computer plays are like totally different. Like you might get moves spammed on you over and over again. You might get somebody that throws all the time, and it's on all levels, like beginner levels, intermediate, top levels. Like they all do like really irritating stuff when you're beginning and you don't understand the game. So how do you handle losing in fighting games when you actually do decide to get online?
I'd say you handle losing by not going in with the expectation. Don't make that the goal. Like one thing I kind of learned playing Tekken, and then eventually I learned a lot of the fundamental stuff from Tekken, and then applied it to Street Fighter 4, and so on and so forth. Like you should be aiming for different types of victories because a lot of people interpret a loss as in I'm not getting any better, I'm not improving, I'm just wasting time. But what a small victory could be is like, oh, okay, I want to land this hit. It's a low kick. I want to land a low kick. Or I want to be able to step around this move when it comes out, or step around a move, not a specific move, but be able to avoid your opponent at all. Or if you're practicing movement, I want to be able to survive for this long by moving around. Or I want my opponent to come to me because I'm always coming to them. I think it was one instance I never forget it. It was with it was your friend way back in Tekken 6. He was a Marduk player, and I was so afraid of walls. Every time I was able to pick a stage, I would always pick a wallless stage until he eventually got wise to it. It's like, dude, what's up with these open stages?
Mhm.
And I was hoping he wouldn't recognize it, but since I'm learning the game, he was like, "No, man, you got to figure out these walls." I'm like, "Yeah, so that's a loss for me. Like I'm hurting myself constantly trying to avoid the one thing I need."
Yeah.
And so, of course, got on walls, got beat up. But the goal at that point was like you need to focus on being able to be comfortable fighting in walls because you can't control that element of the game when you're just playing with random people, whether it's online or a tournament.
Yeah.
That random button is going Pick something that you don't like. Or let's say if you're bad on player two side, well, don't worry about winning. Just figure out how to get to that side and get get used to playing on that side.
Yeah.
So small victories, minimize the stakes to something a little bit more feasible, especially if you're learning. Like you're new. There's no reason to make your first expectation win, get to this
Yeah.
rank, get to this level, and blah blah blah. Like learn how to do something little. Like I'm gonna sidestep this character. I'm gonna hit him with this move. I'm gonna learn what a full crouch move is and how to do it. So that's what I would say. Minimize those victories into something a little more bite sized that you can.
Yeah. So me, I say you gotta. It's such a hard thing to do, but I think you gotta take that saltiness or that hate or that anger and channel it into getting better. Because I think you can take that, if you're getting salty or if you're getting angry, if you're doing that, you have to take that and channel it into getting better. Because I remember there were so many times where like, man, I was playing on lines. I'm getting so mad, like, oh my God, this guy's hitting me with this move, that move. I'm about to throw my controller across the room. and and then you have to say, okay, wait, hold on. Why is this beating me? What is happening to me? And you have to get off online, first of all, go to practice mode, pick the character that you were losing to, and kind of find the move that you were getting beat by and see what you can do towards that move. Is the move unsafe? Can you sidestep it? Can you parry it? Can you counter it? You have to test out what you can do against players in certain situations to where that'll keep happening over and over again to the point where you have a built-in knowledge of what's happening to you. So when it happens again, you'll be ready. It's all about making yourself ready for all of the things that are happening online. Like you won't get all of it. There's so many situations, there's so many things to learn. So kind of like what Josh was saying, you have to take bite-sized pieces. It's like what they say, the old saying, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? It's like you just have to do that. And, you know, get off line if it's you just getting frustrated. And sometimes I get frustrated with lag online where I'll be winning. I'll be winning, and then somebody start jiggling the landline cord at the house, and the game starts skipping, and people start teleporting. I get mad at that and lose. Sometimes you just really be winning. You just really better than the person that you fighting, but the circumstances online keep you from winning that match. Sometimes it's not even you. So you have to kind of recognize what it is too, and move forward with that. But it's just a game. I know we get our passion and emotions in it, and it's understandable. It's okay to do, but you just can't let it burn your soul for too long.
Yeah. Also, like pay attention to what you're doing. If you're playing online, like I, you shouldn't have such high expectations to begin with. There, especially, come on, like I remember. I think I was talking to Cross about it a while back. It's like online and offline are two different games. You may be playing Tekken, but Tekken online and Tekken offline. Oh, it was Soul Calibur. Yeah, that's what it was. Because he was telling me, yeah, this low in Soul Calibur is really good online. Offline, you can see it coming a mile away. So you don't get too used to playing the online version of the game and getting so frustrated to where it's like affecting your offline performance. You kind of have to adjust your mental aptitude depending on what you're doing. Online has its value, but only if you gotta have a mental control on that. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Cross?
Um, I think that the way that you handle losing is you try to isolate a particular thing that you thought contributed to you losing. because there's going to be a lot of reasons, but you can't work on all of them. Uh, so you just got to think about one of the things. Like, man, this guy threw me so much with this one throw, and he got that throw every time. And it's so annoying. I hate it. It's a combo throw, and I'm getting comboed. I hate that. It has to be something that you're going to be motivated to want to go and actually go practice because you remember it so much because it was so annoying. You
Yeah,
know, uh, then you go and I don't know, learn how to beat it. Oh, actually, that was a front throw. And yeah, all you got to do is break front. Okay, alrighty. So I'm just gonna do that, and then you just do that, and you have to try and make sure that you don't getting frustrated and mad is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you get frustrated to the point to where you are you stop paying attention to why you're losing, then
yeah,
that's when it's a problem because
yeah,
the losing part isn't bad, but if you don't learn from the losing, then it's wasted time because now you're just going to lose in the same way next time, but you're not going to be able to practice it like in the real situation. So, like, if you lose to one particular thing, oh, this guy threw me a lot, then next time it's your goal. Like, okay, uh, next time I fight against this character, when he does this thing, I am going to beat this. I'm going to beat it by doing this. And that should be your goal. That's why it has to be something that you're really motivated to beat. It can't just be a mechanical, okay, you know, like you do this to win. It's like, no, it got to be something like, I really fucking hate this fucking back throw he does. It's really shitty. It Kage front throw just throws me out the ring. Mm, I'm never letting him get fucking front throw.
yeah,
Fuck you. It's like so even if you lose, even if you still lose, you're like, well, he ain't beating me that way. That
yeah,
way he can't win. So let's try to do it again. Let's try to think of another way.
yeah,
Or why am I like, what's the other way that he's beating me? You just try to isolate that as much as possible.
yeah,
Like, and it's difficult because the most difficult part is it's not really finding an answer, but it's practicing there, finding a legitimate match where you can practice the answer. Um, because your opponents aren't just going to want to help you practice. So,
yeah.
but
Look,
yeah,
look, look at this guy right here on the screen. I'm having too much fun in this Virtua Fighter, cheesing. But
dang.
yeah. Um. So let's get into the next topic. So now, how do you handle winning in fighting games? Because sometimes you can be winning and winning and winning and not truly improving um, to a certain degree. You think what you're doing, your tactics are working, and you don't need to change. And sometimes that can happen. When you get the big head, you think that you're just the best. Now, how do you guys like handle winning?
Again, I kind of refer to my those little victories. You should be proud of your wins, especially if they're wins for something that you're intentionally trying to improve on. The wins of the match, I think that's a trap. If you're just winning games and not paying attention to how you're winning, you're just kind of like how I was before I met you in Tekken. I was beating some people, but I didn't know how I was beating it. I was too focused on the high from emerging victorious, but mashing all the buttons. I was better at mashing the buttons. I was timing my mashes. But once you develop some level of competence and you're aware of how much you don't know, those little victories, things that within the match that you are focused on, example in Virtual Fighter with John, one thing I want to focus on is like how to do this step, because like I'm learning how to move in that game, and it looks like there's two different side steps. There's the step that automatically pushes you around a move that's not tracking, and then there's if you press the buttons to step that Dead or Alive shamelessly ripped off in 5. I guess this is the game it came from, where it's like, oh yeah, we got a side step too.
No, they're kind of different. That's not the same. So what you're talking about, the one where you press a button in in VF, that actually doesn't do anything. So that's called an offensive move. An
Mm,
offensive move works like free step in DOA, just walking around. So
yeah.
it's like the opposite. Like it has zero evasive properties. Like you will get hit if you try to
Uh,
use it as a evade. It has zero evasive properties. It's only meant for positioning, just like you know uh, a free step in DOA, just walking around. Like that also has no evasive properties, right? But the
mm.
command step in DOA has evasive properties. Um, but the that the
Yeah, that's what I meant. It would just seem like they just threw it in there because, like, it does have properties in DOA, but it's like I'm talking about how it was implemented. Because in DOA, if a move don't track, it just don't track. And
right.
that step, because DOA never really had that in this system to where it needed to be.
Well,
But
moves that don't track will still hit a free step.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I
that's why.
mean.
Yeah, because like in DOA 5, it made a difference. Because like in the previous DOAs, the only moves you could actually sidestep were ones where you were flying in the air,
Yeah,
like Ayane's super fronts look like, oh, I can step that.
yeah, but
But
to get
that,
around the whole fucking opponent, you get all the way to their fucking back. They better not be able to hit you at that point. But it's like,
yeah,
yeah, like like the offensive move in VF, it works just for positioning, just to change where you are. But the step in DOA, it's it's kind of see that's the thing. Like the step in DOA is actually like its own thing because if you do so the evade when you press up or down in VF, if you successfully evade, then it'll play the sound and your character say hut and then they'll move, right? But if that's called a successful defensive evade or defensive move. But if you press up or down and there was no move that came out, that's called a failed evade,
yeah,
and you are punishable during that entire time. Um, but in DOA, the like evade that's in that game, it works the same way whether you evade something or you don't evade something. But like the failed evade and the successful evade are like completely different. If you do a successful evade, you move farther, you move faster, and you are completely invincible the entire time during that evade. And a failed evade is literally the opposite of that. It's slow, it doesn't move very far, and you're punishable the entire time you're doing it. Uh, so like, yeah, sorry, that was a
well,
caveat, but
well, another useful thing is to have friends that know how to correct you when you're learning something new. So that is
Yeah,
another useful resource you could have.
yeah,
yeah.
true.
So, but
Friends,
yeah,
So,
friends.
but were you finished making your point, Josh? Or
well, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like just learning like little victories are things like that. Understanding a move and successfully utilizing it as it was intended mid game. Not winning, just being able to do that, because I think that stuff compounds over time to where it becomes second nature, and
yeah,
now you're able to do it without. When something happens, you'll know exactly what happened versus just being frustrated. Like I'm just getting hit. Like I don't know if y'all remember, it was like the one time where I started fucking whining about Tekken. Like this usually works all the time, but now it don't. See,
yeah,
I was just mad because I was so focused on winning and I wasn't winning. And I thought I was like, well, yeah, all this shit I learned was pointless. So this game is stupid now because I'm frustrated. So,
So
yeah.
for me, I think the way you handle winning, you have to. I think you have to like be happy about it. Be happy about it. Like me, I don't know if you can see me back here playing this match here, but we don't know what we're doing. This like he don't know what he doing, and I don't know what I'm doing at all. But we are having like the time of our lives. We're having fun, and I'm winning, and I'm enjoying myself. Right, but at the same time, when you're winning, you have to understand there's a level that you haven't obtained yet. You have to win and still want to be better. About far as what you're doing. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I want to be careful about saying being humble about your wins because I like to trash talk, and then my friends trash talk me. So that's just what we do. So sometimes even the sorriest win, when we don't know what we're doing, we kind of like celebrate like hard, right? So it's all fun and games. Make sure to enjoy it, but understand that you have, a level that you need to attain this higher. So,
Mhm.
all right, but in attaining that level, I'm going to kind of segue into the next topic. Um, you know,
You didn't ask Cross about winning.
I'm sorry, I didn't. You know what? It slipped my mind.
It's all right. I never win anyway.
But yeah, so how do you handle winning in fighting games?
I don't know actually. I feel like it's best to kind of just recognize what worked and why it worked, and then just keep that in the back of your mind. Oh, okay, this worked. That's interesting. I wonder why it worked. Kind of pay attention to why uh, particular things in the match worked. Like, okay, I did this setup on him. He mashed here. Maybe that was just him. Maybe he's a masher. Let me
Yeah,
try that on somebody else. And then you just kind of, it's like the only time winning should really matter is when there's something on the line. Like you're playing at a tournament or you're playing, I guess, ranked match. But like, there are times where winning really matters. And then there's other times where winning is more so should be a result of your training. It's like, oh, I won because I implored these things correctly and it resulted in a victory.
you know what? You know what? I didn't even think about that. Winning and losing in tournaments. That's ooh man, losing in a tournament feels so
That's because it
bad.
matters. 'Cause like it doesn't matter when we're just fucking playing. Like,
I think I might
it's
have
like,
to put
okay,
that topic
whatever.
on here. That's crazy.
Because
I
that's when
didn't
you
think
don't
about
have
that.
time to sit there and be like, oh, let's see what's going on here. You just got to kill him. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I just got to kill you. Like, there's no time for me to sit here and play with you. I got to kill you. And so you need to be able to turn that gear on what works, what kills. Maybe he can figure it out later in practice mode. But, like, now you have something in your mind where you're like, I know this works against a lot of different people. It's reliable. And because I know it works. I know it works at this level. And then if it doesn't, you can be ready to switch quickly because you only have 2 out of 3 games. You don't have 10 games to be like, oh, actually, this guy does this. So it's like you need to be able to, okay, that tactic didn't work. I need to be able to try this, because it's a tournament. It ain't about really who's the best player out of a long set. It's who can win in a short set. you know, the skill set is different. How
Yeah,
you approach the match is different.
man, I didn't think about that because like the way I win and lose online and the way I lose in tournament is like two different things. Like when I lose in tournament, oh, it's so devastating. My heart be broken. Especially like if I lose to somebody that I know I could have beat, or I dropped a combo,
Yeah.
uh, or it's like you realize that you're not as good as you thought you were. Like you fight somebody that's just on another level. You fucking Yamcha and you going against Vegeta or somebody. And it's like, damn, this power level is just too much.
Yeah.
And it's eye opening because you kind of get to see what your weaknesses are, firsthand, especially fighting a top player. It's but yeah, those are some of the hardest losses. And then when I win, like my heart be beating so hard in some tournament matches that I don't even care about the win. It's like, oh man, I'm so glad this is over. Like when you fight somebody, just like, oh man, this is a tough opponent. It's like, oh my god, it's like it's so close. It's like I don't even be thinking about the winning at all. Just, whew, I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, sometimes the stress of the game can put you in a different space. Like I will say, like tournaments probably isn't something most regular players are gonna be worried about. I know
Yeah,
fight games are super popular these days, but don't expect tournaments to be a thing unless you graduate from the proper class. And you like that's something you're really trying to pursue. If you're
yeah,
just playing fighting games online, it's probably going to be where that story ends for most people.
yeah. All right, but did you finish your point, Cross?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. All right. So the next topic. Now, of course, we kind of touched on this in like past streams, but we're in a new age of fighting games, like kind of like I said in the beginning of the stream. And we're at a point where companies are they're kind of watering down the games because people have a hard time learning fighting games. And it's subjective, but I just wanted to ask the question: are fighting games harder or easier to learn in today's day and age?
Easier.
Easier, too easy actually.
I mean, definitely easier.
Now, why do you guys say that it's easier?
Because the amount of resources you have to learn fighting games is more, and it's easy to find.
And the games are getting dumbed down.
Like,
So
like even if the games were harder, it would be easier to learn them than in our time. So, like, we don't even have to consider whether the game is easier or harder. Like,
Mm,
just by being living in the information age, post information age, it's like, yeah, it's easier. If you were a guy in fucking Oklahoma trying to learn fucking Soul Calibur 2, and it was just you and all your other friends played fucking Halo or some shit, good luck learning Soul Calibur 2.
yeah,
I mean, like, just good luck, because like you don't even know if the things you're learning are good because you have no opponents. Like, so you're like, you could be like actually learning something on your own. You did a good job, but how do you know that?
yeah,
How do you know that you haven't fought anyone? So,
yeah, a
uh,
real person capable of testing your knowledge.
yeah, exactly. Like how effective you are at the game. So it's like, yeah, but now that's literally just not true. Doesn't matter where you are. You have the internet, and then the games can be played online. And yeah, no. I think it's like objectively, it's not a matter of opinion. It definitely is.
Yeah, I'd say like if there's any part of it that's harder, it's if you're somebody who's used to how things used to be, and the fact that games are easier is what's frustrating now. Like I feel like it's like an opposite problem. Someone like me, like when I talk about Street Fighter 6, I can't. It's hard to play that game because of how easy it is. Because so many things are done for you and they're streamlined and automated that sometimes find myself going. Yeah, this happened in Tekken 8, where I was trying to like do a move that came out of crouching, only
yeah.
to find out, oh yeah, just hit down forward the button.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm like, dude, if I was doing the same thing in Tekken 6, I would have had to do this intricate micro step. But now it's just like, oh yeah, just do that. It's like, yeah, like I'm hurting myself because of how simplified the game is. So
Yeah.
but that's that's very specific. But overall, yes, way easier. The games are easier to play. The information is literally everywhere. If you have any level of interest, it's hard to not find any information that would help you improve your, uh, you know,
Yeah.
knowledge.
Yeah. So I think that what you guys said is true, but I kind of think that it's also harder at the same time. I think it's easier to find information, um, but at the same time, because it's easier to find information, I think a lot of people have the opportunity to grow into better players in this day and age than what they could before. I think in the past, information was kind of like guarded and hoarded and kept in secret. You know, you didn't bring out your tech or your info until the tournament or whatever. But now everything is available for anybody to kind of learn. So I think the level of competition has risen because of that. And I think fighting games are probably the most popular that they've ever been in the history of fighting games, in my opinion, right now. And you couple that along with the developers making things easier for people to do. So, like the hard stuff that was hard, kind of like what you're saying, Josh, ain't so hard. Anybody can do. You
Yeah.
know, it's like in Tekken 8, you pop heat and you can just automatically do electrics without even doing a just frame for it. Now, of course, there's a time limit for you to do it, but it's it's like in this day and age, it's like the developers are catering these games to help people be stronger against like people who know how to play.
Yeah, it was
So
one of the it was a conversation that was being had a while ago with how games have changed. Like Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter 6. Same to go for Tekken 6 to Tekken 8. Like a character specialist had a very unique way of playing. If you look at him, you could tell who the player was back in the day. But now things are so simplified; it's kind of hard to find anyone who plays in a unique way because the game is so simplified to a point to where it either forces you to play like everyone else, Tekken 8, or the game is so paced at a slower rate like Street Fighter 6 that it's like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of moves here, but it's almost like a reverse problem. It's like, yeah, everyone has so many moves, but they're the only moves that you can use.
Yeah.
So like I can't tell if Daigo's playing with Ryu or Guile in Street Fighter 6. I could tell immediately in Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I know what knee plays like in Tekken 6 and Tag 2 7. But in 8, he playing like every other Brian or whoever character he got.
Yeah. I remember I was watching one of the main man's videos and he was doing a kind of tutorial on Kazuya, combo tutorial. And he was talking about how one of the hardest things to do in Tekken, you didn't need to do anymore. It's like the perfect electric where you do the down, what's it, the down forward 2 or down forward, was it down forward 2 into the electric or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you didn't need to do that anymore because the game just like doesn't reward that. It's like everything that was, rewarding and took skill, they kind of catered the game to kind of tear that stuff down, and it made it easier for people to do certain other things too. So I think it's harder in certain aspects as far as like playing certain people. It's like a layers things, but but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, you guys got anything else to say on that one?
Yeah. Your players don't have much to worry about. They'll be just as plain as the rest of the James, these modern fighting games.
Yeah, I think that I think that if you want to learn any fighting game, whether it be old or new, it is easier to learn that game today than it would have been back in the day.
I agree, 100%. So this next topic is probably for people who've been playing for a long time. But what do you do when you hit a wall in fighting games? Like, you know, you can't do a certain combo, or you just can't get past a certain rank, or what do you do when you hit a wall in a fighting game?
Take a break.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Take a break. Um, because you're likely hitting that wall because you don't understand something. Like you don't even see why you're making a mistake. You don't know why. And so you the, there's two ways to go about it. A lot of times, like if you just take a break and do something else for a while and relax, your brain will figure it out for you.
Mm,
You don't even have to worry about it. When you come back at it again, you'll be good. Sometimes you just are playing the game too much and you
yeah,
need to take a step back. But then there are other times where that's not the problem. Um, Plateaus can exist in two areas. They can be within yourself. You are not allowing yourself to grow because either you are not noticing a mistake you're doing, you are not grinding something that you should be, you are not noticed like you have not gotten the required information for you to get past that plateau. Or it could be that the person that you're playing against, uh, they're the plateau, but you're mistaking it with you.
yeah,
Like, oh my God, I just cannot get first place or blah blah blah. It could be that that guy just has a good read on how you play, or maybe he knows how to play your character very well, or something like that. It could be something isolated to that one guy. And but a lot of times, the plateaus I see with like certain players when they're plateaued, you know, a lot of times it's because they're blaming everything but themselves and they're playing the game too much. Oh,
yeah,
it's Reina. Oh, it's this game sucks. Or oh, this guy is playing in a way that's illegitimate. Or oh, whatever. Like instead of like literally just being like, okay, let's just play some games. For some reason, I keep losing this fucking rank. I get to the rank and then I lose it, and I just can't keep it. What's going on? You know, and you need to figure out what are the like. You need to deep dive. Like,
yeah,
what are the exact things that I am losing to? Like, am I always like every time I try to start my offense, I just get hit by random shit, or like is it that I'm not like I could have won that match right there, but I missed the block punish here, 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 and here? Like, do I just need to play more efficiently? Or am I being too risky? Maybe I gave him opportunities for victory that I didn't need to do. Like with plateaus, you kind of have to defeat them in detail because they're not obvious. If they were, it wouldn't be a plateau.
yeah,
Like you would just know what to fucking do, and then you would eventually get over it, and you wouldn't even feel like it's a plateau. You'd just be like, okay, I just need to get this thing down or whatever, and you would eventually get it. But plateaus usually form because you don't understand why you feel like I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. Like I don't get why I'm not able to get past this hurdle. And
mm,
it's like, and then I guess also another thing is like, do you want to get past the hurdle? Maybe
yeah,
this is like the time for you to stop. Like that's where I go back to say, like, do you like what level of player do you want to be? Because some people are legitimately pretty decent at a game. Like, there's some like if you were to take all of the people that play this game in the world, they might rank in the top, I don't know, 5,000 players.
yeah,
That's pretty fucking good. Are you really trying to be number one? Are you really trying to be in the top 10, top 100? Like, are you actually trying to be that good? or because some people I don't think like they visualize that they reach a plateau that is like actually a level of play that they don't want to get past because the work required to get past it is a
It's hard.
and
Hard.
that's why they end up blaming all this other shit because they easily could, especially with the tools that are in Tekken 8, right? It it the tools in Tekken 8 to learn that game is remarkable. The idea that you can take replays that are already made for you, you don't even have to make those, and then you can in the replay take control of the character and see
That's amazing.
exactly what you did and then come up with strategies on exactly how to beat it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is insane.
Yeah,
So like
especially for like 3D fighters.
yeah, for 3D fighters, that's insane. That's amazing. And it's like, there's no excuse. So um it really could just be, hey man, I'm pretty fucking good at this game, but I'm not the best. I'm not amongst the best in the entire world. You know, maybe you should be okay with that. Cause I bet that if you were okay with that, you would actually start getting better again. Because you would just play naturally. And when you lose, you'd be like, ah, well, that guy was really fucking good, I guess. you
Yeah,
know, like he probably was just a fucking really great fucking player. I don't know. You know, you would actually start performing better, in my mind, but you never know. So yeah, plateaus are hard to get around though. But I mean, by the nature of them
yeah.
being plateaus, you have to beat them in detail, or you have to take a break.
I agree 100% with that. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, they're not so many words. Just take a break. I think it's important to get an idea of where you want to be, and I think you kind of figure that out as you're playing. And if you feel like you've hit a plateau, how do you feel about it? Are you really bothered by it, or I just use myself as an example. One of the plateaus that I dealt with in Street Fighter 4 was my execution with Makoto. I had a hard time doing certain combos that I was just avoiding, but then I realized like I wasn't killing anybody, and I couldn't really guarantee that. She had a setup where her highest damage combo came from getting the Karakusa and then canceling her heavy punch into a medium, and then it depended on which character you got it on. You could get 3 of those mediums on E Honda, 1 or 2 on other characters, and you have to know which character you could do it to. And I was kind of bad at blinking, canceling the heavy punch into a medium punch into the dash punch because I would always drop the link between the heavy punch cancel into the medium punch, and they would either show you can or mash or something or hop out, and it was just so frustrating.
Yeah,
And it was the execution there, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I could just grab them, do the heavy punch and the dash punch, but they'll still be alive. Because Makoto could kill you really fast if you were good, and that's kind of what I was thinking to myself. Like, man, I'm not good. My execution, I don't have any faith in it, and it's actively allowing matches to last longer than it should. And now that I'm up to these better players, they can sniff that out. It's to the point to where now they're just kind of just fucking with me. So I just you have to just take a break and stop focusing on winning. And the next few times I play, just focus. Like I said, minimize the stakes. Focus on doing this in the middle of a match. And clearing that plateau was very satisfying. It took a long time, especially when I decided to do the Karakusa. That was probably the biggest hurdle with that character because doing it in practice is one thing, getting it in a match completely different.
yeah,
The stress of maintaining your life and doing all your setups and doing it. But I miss it. It was very nice, and that was probably the most engaged I was with the game outside of Tekken or with a character. She was the most engaging character I was with. Right behind her would probably be Armor King
yeah,
because he had a similar difficult that had to require high execution. It was his Wild Rising 2 that on counter hit he held up, he did the key charge into the OG Dark Upper,
Oh yeah.
and you had to do a crouch dash lariat, and that was like one frame to get.
Yeah, I remember you were fighting me one time or a couple of times. You got it. Like, oh
Yeah, because like now that I have it, even if I don't play the game in a while, it's second nature. So like, yeah, I'll probably miss it, but I'll get it more than I'll miss it. Same thing with Karakusa.
yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah, I know it now. Once I got it, I think the first time I did it in practice, I was like, I found it. It's right there. I can feel it. And it's gonna be the same way with Akira with the knee. Because I found it. It's just a matter of doing it. Because like once you master it in one place and you feel the timing and stuff, it becomes second nature to where you don't have to worry about I gotta practice this a trillion times, even if I retire. Like, no, once it's there, it's there.
Yeah. That reminds me of like when I was playing with Kage and like I was joking about before the stream, trying to like lay down. There's like a council with Kage where you have to lay down. And Josh was telling me, he was like, yeah, you have to press the buttons. You can't do the bind. You have to press, the buttons together or like, whatever. And I started doing it and I was like, oh, I see. I see. That's how you do it. It's like an aha moment. It's so good. But for me, I would say I agree with you guys 100%. I say take a break. And if you do decide to try to break through that plateau, you have to not be afraid. Because like some of this, like for me, execution is bad for me. I have like really bad execution. So sometimes I get afraid of doing like certain things that require high execution or something that requires you to do it in the clutch. So my I guess my solution is I kind of just tackle the issue head on and don't run away from it, if you want to get better at it. So you have to recognize, okay, this is going to be hard, but you have to take it one baby step at a time with certain things. It's
Yeah.
like some stuff you just can't rush it. You have to get the muscle memory. You got to get the timing. You got to get the feeling. And sometimes it just don't happen overnight. You got to constantly practice it. So even if you're getting beat by a certain person, it's like sometimes you be playing them. You have to understand why you're getting beat, and you have to look at yourself and look at them. Hey, what are your tendencies? What are they doing wrong? What aren't you taking advantage of to where you can win uh, against this person that seems unbeatable? So yeah, don't run away from the issues. Tackle your issues, and like I said, take it one step at a time.
You got plenty of time. There's no rush.
Yeah. It's like sometimes we have a habit of kind of like what Cross was saying. We have a habit of like comparing ourselves to like other players. Like some players are just like on God level, and then you play the same character as them. You be wondering like, man, why can't I play like you? Why am I not the next JDCR? Why am I not the next Lil Majin? It's like you have to, do things that are within your power to do. Um, and if you keep comparing yourself to someone else, you won't be able to focus on your own battles.
Yeah.
But that's all I have for today. Any last words?
Fighting games are great, even though they're not as great as they used to be. But that's just me being an old head, just like any other old generation. Back in my day, we really had to adjust our frames and all that stuff. But the fighting games they still at their core are competitive, which is the biggest draw and challenge for newcomers. Like getting used to losing and it being all your fault, no one else to share the blame with, like your teammates on Marvel Rivals who keep picking DPS when they know they should be learning how to play someone else with their sorry ass anyway.
I love Spooder, man.
Spooder Man. I'm gonna live and die by Spooder Man.
I
Even
love.
though I can't play him worth a damn.
Yeah, swing it into a wall. Don't know
I
what's
saw
happening.
this thing on
swing it.
TikTok. I'm about to do it. Oh, I missed it. You know what? We'll get it next game.
3-24.
Yeah.
But yeah, like fighting games they'll always be unique and therefore more difficult to get into just on that aspect alone. But that's also what makes them worth the grind, worth the journey.
Yeah. What about you, Cross? Any last words?
I don't know. Don't learn how to play fighting games if it's not fun. If you don't find it fun, don't worry about it. There are other reasons to play fighting games other than just competitive. Don't get fooled and tricked into the idea that the only reason to play a fighting game is so that you can become the very best and be sweaty. You
Yeah.
know, you can enjoy fighting games for so many other reasons other than that. Although fighting games have become more like not adding the other type of content that would have been in the game for you to enjoy. You know, it being a lot more competitiveness focused, but still, in most fighting games, there's a lot of stuff that goes overlooked that is very fun. So if you're not having fun uh learning it, don't worry about it. There's
Yeah.
a lot of other people that like other stuff about fighting games too. So you won't have to, be alone in that either. Just do what you like and have fun. If you don't like it, don't do it. But if you do like it, um, you know, yeah, have
Yeah.
fun. I guess that's the best thing I can advise, that I would advise.
I agree. I was gonna say something like on the same lines of what you're saying. Like, we talk a lot of shit about like the newer fighting games, but if that's something that you like, you know, don't listen to us talking shit about it. Just play your game.
Yeah, your game
Like
sucks,
if you
but
like,
you can still play
say
it.
what?
Yeah, your game fucking sucks, but you can still play
Yeah,
it.
if you like Tekken 8, play Tekken 8, man. Don't worry about what people are saying about your game. If this is what you love and what you like, and you find it fun with all of the changes that they made, and like the heat system or whatever it is, or if you like Strive, play your game. There are games for. I think if you like fighting games, there's like a ton of games for you out there. They're bringing all the old games back along with the new games. So
Fucking,
you say what?
yeah, fucking them up, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Your opinion is wrong and it should be taken seriously. But yeah, you can still enjoy your games.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. I'm not kidding at all. But yeah, enjoy your game.
But yeah, just play what you like. Have fun. Fighting games are fun. Yes, they can be hard, but it's all about the journey. I think that's the best thing. Everybody has their own personal journey when it comes to fighting games, whether you're beginner, intermediate, top player, everybody has a journey that they have to be on. And you have to focus on yours. So don't compare yourself to anybody else. Of course, you can look at them, see what they're doing to win, and analyze it and be better. But don't always focus on what everybody else is doing and who's
Yeah.
better and who's not. Just play your
If
game and get good.
you are looking at that, make that entertainment.
Yeah,
Watching better players, like you could always learn something, but also just enjoy seeing what it's like to play your favorite character at that level. You'll get there one day. Yeah, it's fun.
yeah,
I like watching players who play my character way better than I do.
yeah.
So,
It's entertaining. Like I've learned a lot watching all of the top KOF players, Violent Kane and Lokoff and uh, Dark Angel, like Reno. all of the top players in KOF I kind of watch on a weekly basis, and they inspire me. Like, I'm not jealous of them; they just inspire me to do better. I was like, man, can I do that? Can I do that execution wise? I see Lokov do some of the craziest stuff, and I was like, man, it's hard, but let me practice it. Let me see if I can get better.
Yeah.
But that's all I have for today. Hey, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Any plugs?
Well, make sure you follow me on the Immortal Afro and all your usual platforms: YouTube, Twitch, Facey Spacey, and the Eternal Afro on X.
All right. Cross, any plugs?
TikTok has been unbanned. Go to TikTok now. Watch TikTok or else.
That's
Enjoy
funny,
your
'cause
brain rot.
once I heard that, I re-downloaded CapCut and started editing videos.
CapCut is now unbanned. You can now do stuff. And Marvel Snap. Go play Marvel Snap right now. It is unbanned.
All right, so you guys can follow me on Twitch. Don't forget to follow. You can follow me on YouTube, of course. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Be easy. Peace.
Peace.